Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And in this one we have the full set review for Perfect Order, which is going to be releasing in March. But Japan, of course, do get the cards before us, so they will get these cards very soon, which is kind of frustrating because, I'd love to play with these guys now, but yeah, we have to wait until March before we get a chance, which is, kind of a shame. But it is always fun to, get an idea of the decks that are coming out for the post-rotation format and everything, so that's cool. So first up here is we have a new Ariados line. Now, Ariados itself, I don't think is very impressive, like outside of maybe GLC or Cube, but the Spinnerack is quite nice, so maybe we have a new good Spinnerack to use. Defending Pokemon can't retreat, just quite a nice attack. I know we still have Maractus and whatnot, but if we ever get like a good Ariados, like a Mega Ariados or an Ariados EX or whatever, it is nice to have these evolving basics with good attacks, so I thought that was worth mentioning. Yeah, we also have a new Shaman, which can okay, this is pretty bad. this is a cute card. It does have free retreat, and you can find it with Poffin, which is nice, but yeah, sadly ramping single energy is not really very good. Okay, so we have a new Snivy that can do 30 for 1 energy, that's nice. And then we have the first single prize Serperior card since Fates Collide, I believe. I actually remember like buying the theme deck, I think, that had Serperior in it, so that's kind of nostalgic. But yeah, 2 attacks. One does 20 damage for each Pokemon you have in play for a single grass energy. And then for 3 grass, Solar Winder does 100. And if you have Rosa's Encouragement in your discard pile, it does 250 instead. So Rosa's Encouragement is a new supporter from the set, which says if you're behind on prize cards, then you get to attach up to 2 basic energy from your discard pile to one of your stage 2 Pokemon. So quite easy to fulfill, really, as a single prize deck that's also going to be very fragile. So, like, you put a Budyu in the active spot, for argument's sake, right, or Maractus. Your opponent KOs one of them, and then you can just come in there with Serperior, and then, use Rosa. Of course, you'll still need to, like, rare candy this up, chain it every time, and of course, you'll never be able to go ahead on prize cards, which is kind of annoying, I guess. Otherwise, you sort of just lose your main wave accelerating energy. You could also use Meganium. That could be a nice way of paying for the attack cost. Some Ogerpon and energy switch action, perhaps. 250 is quite respectable. It's not quite the greats of 280 or 300 even, which is a crazy sentence to say in this day and age, but it's just the way things are in the game with power creep. But like, yeah, I guess with whatever it's called, the silver bangle thing, you can get to 280 quite easily. So I'd be interested in giving this one a go, especially for like nostalgic sake, because it is Serperior. And I'm a sucker for single prize stage 2 decks. If you've been following this channel for a little while now, you should know that I'm a huge fan of these guys. So yeah, I have to give this one a go at the very least. But then we also have a new Vivillon, which was revealed fairly recently, so you guys might have seen this already online. It does have the ability Big Wings. Once during a turn, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand into their deck. No, just shuffle their hand, sorry, and put it onto the bottom of their deck. And then your opponent draws 4. And then Blow Throw does 60 or 120 if there's a stadium in play for single grass. So it's kind of meant to have synergy with the Decidueye EX. Yeah, there's 3 stage 2 grass lines in this set. So the Decidueye says if your opponent has exactly 4 cards in hand, ignore colorless in this Pokemon's attack cost. So for a grass 3 colorless, Crush Arrow does 240 and discard energy from your opponent's Pokemon. So that's the Vivillon synergy. You could also use other stuff for Decidueye actually. You could use Renicant actually and copy Phaser Shot, which is kind of cool, do some sniping. You could also use that. I think Crisis Punch doesn't rotate. Might not want to quote me on that one. If it came out in the set with the Spathra EX, then it will rotate, I think. But Crisis Punch would have been cool for this because then you could just do like a TM move for 280 damage for free, basically, which is cool. So yeah, I think there's some fun options with Decidueye. It'll definitely be a fun deck to try. I don't see it being like a very competitive deck post-rotation, but it could definitely be like a really solid tier 2 kind of deck. Nothing crazy, but good enough to take to like a league challenge or something. So I'm excited to try out Decidueye at the very least. Then we have a new Talonflame line because, of course, we have to have more Talonflames in the TCG. Someone on the design team really likes this Pokemon. Although I will say he often gets really cool card arts, and this one is really nice. I do like the artwork on this. The artwork in this set is amazing. But yeah, the ability Sky Hunt, once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent discards a random card from their hand, so you don't even get to choose. It's a coin flip. Firewing does 110 for 2 RNG. Absolute trash. Get yourself to the bulk pile. maybe in GLC, and like a cube is fine, I guess. But yeah, it's a cube set basically. Salazzle EX. This one kind of makes me sad because I loved Salazzle GX back in the day, but yeah, this one I don't think is quite as good. Nasty Plot. Search your deck for up to 2 cards. Cool, I guess. Fatal Nail for 2 fire, 100 damage. Bronze active is now poisoned and burned. And you switch this with one of your bench Pokemon. So you could switch into Pekkarunt, which is always an option, I guess. So you could do that. Pekkarunt, I think, is probably the most obvious answer. You might want to switch into a wall, though, like Crustle, which I think is possibly the better option for this. So yeah, like you maybe switch into Crustle, get like a couple of stage 1s on the board, maybe have like a Dunsparce, Pheasantivity, Dronjin. Could be a bit of fun as a rogue deck. I don't think it's like super competitive, but you know, it could be cool. Perilous Jungle as well, of course, to get the extra 6 damage counters on poison. Extra 6, is it? 2 or 3. But yeah, I think Salazzle could be fun. It's just not a great card, you know, it's not outstanding. Turtonator is a bit annoying. I guess they want you to pair it with Salazzle, though. When this Pokemon takes damage from an attack, discard an energy from the attacking Pokemon. So, like, yeah, you could have Salazzle retreat or, you know, Fatal Nail into Turtonator, I should say, and then, you know, force your opponent to discard energy. But in all honesty, it doesn't seem super strong. And then Heat Breath is just trash. So, yeah, not having too much faith in that combo. Dewgong, from what I remember, is kind of interesting. Yeah, ability washout. As often as you like during a turn, you may move a water energy from your benched Pokemon to the active. So it doesn't actually specify water Pokemon, which is cool. So if we ever get a good way to just ramp water energy, we could use Dewgong. You could, if you really wanted to jump through like a load of hoops, you could actually use Rosa's encouragement to, you know, accelerate 2 energy to a stage 2 and then, you know, move those energy to a basic. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know. That also requires you to have a Dewgong and that stage 2 in play in order to do it. But, you know, just there is an option, I guess, if you really wanted to do it. But yeah, Dewgong seems kind of fun. I think this will see play at some point. We've got a Staryu in here. 70 HP is very nice for a Staryu. We've got Mega Starmie, and yeah, I think this guy will be very annoying. Has the attack Jet Blow that does 120 and then 50 damage sniped to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And if the Mega Greninja that was leaked a little while ago is indeed correct, then I think this will be quite a nice partner for that. But also just by itself, like with Frostlass and Munkidori, Dusknoir, you know, like the usual stuff that we're used to in Standard right now, then yeah, because 50 damage doesn't sound like a lot, but if your opponent doesn't get that Shaman down, then all of a sudden you can start to make things just a bit silly with Frostlass and Munkidori. So yeah, I do like Mega Starmie, seems pretty good. Nebula Beam as well, 210. But like ultimately, I think I'd much prefer to try out Salazzle over Mega Starmie. You know, if I was going to try and make a rogue deck work in Standard, it would be Salazzle. But yeah, Mega Starmie's kind of cool though. Then we have Amura, this weird little deformed seal thing. Icy Wind, 50 damage, and they're now asleep. Okay. Aurorus, hopefully you can redeem this evolution line. The ability Tundra Wall, while this Pokemon is in play, all of your water Pokemon, just all of your Pokemon, okay, that have a water energy attached to them, take 50 less damage from attacks, and it doesn't stack. So that's cool. You know, just like a nice bit of extra defense for Mega Starmie if you wanted it. Or like Mega Abominus Snow. Is there any other Mega Waters that are good? I'm trying to think of any. We haven't had a Mega Blastoise card yet, actually. We could obviously get like Mega Ninja, could be quite tanky in theory, maybe. There is. What else is there? Is that it? Like Palafin, I guess? Like, does anyone play Palafin still? Palafin, yeah, Clawitzer, I guess. Like, there's some fun options. This would have been a bit more interesting when Palkia was around, I think. But yeah, Aurorus is kind of cool. The attack is like whatever, because I think Reverse Energy does rotate, which kind of sucks. But yeah, Aurorus, yeah, it's all right. The new Volcanion, powerful Steam, flip a coin for each water energy attaches Pokemon. I love these attacks. They're not very good, but they are fun. It does 90 damage for each heads, which is kind of a lot for these styles of attacks. Usually it's just like 80 or 70. So doing 90 is quite fun. I'm not sure how you'd power this up, of course, because we lose Baxcalibur to rotation, but could be a fun deck. Then we have a Luxio with a very cool ability, actually. Roar of the Tiger. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, you can evolve this Pokemon on your first turn, or in the first turn this Pokemon was put into play, which is a very, very good ability. It's interesting that it says during your first turn because, like, obviously you can't evolve Shinx into Luxio. So, yeah, I'm not sure if the wording will mean that you can evolve Shinx into Luxio. I'm assuming not, right? I'm assuming not. But yeah, it's interesting that they've included that anyway. But yeah, it's a very, very good ability. So if we ever get like a really good Luxray card, sadly, I don't think this one is quite it. Pressure does 70 damage for each prize card you have taken, which is like, it's okay, I guess. Like, it's definitely more of a tech piece. Like, you can't really build a deck around this necessarily. Like, it has to be a partner to something else. So, like, Dynamotor with Mega Electros, maybe it could be a fun deck. You know, just food for thought. We've got Dedenne, Tail Generation. For each energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon, you may attach a basic Light Energy from your discard pile to your Lightning Pokemon in any way you like. So if your opponent floods the board with energy, you could like do a load of energy acceleration, but it is an attack, so maybe not the best option, but you know, so it's all right. I got new Clefairy, which is a bit annoying actually. Follow Me is quite an annoying attack. Mega Clefable, 320 HP is not a lot actually for a Mega. I guess it's stage 1 though at the end of the day. It's still kind of crazy. But yeah, the ability Wings of Light, prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to this Pokemon. So no more Munkidori, no more Dusknoir, no more Frostlass, which is really cool. Shooting Moon for 2 Psychic, 120. And you may discard up to 4 energy from your hand. If you do, this attack does 40 more damage for each card. So you can do 160, 200, 240, or 280 for 2 energy, which is quite nice. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty good, to be honest. You would still need to obviously have ways of getting the energy back. You're never going to do more than 280, which kind of sucks if you want to deal with much bigger Pokemon. But, you know, you could definitely find a way of like getting more damage. You could run your own Munkidori's because you're playing like psychic Pokemon and stuff. But yeah, like maybe there's something here. Like you'd have to find a way of paying the attack cost as well. But I'm sure there's options. There's like Wonder Patch and stuff, so it's not that hard, I guess. But yeah, it seems like an okay card. I've got new Mawile, which is just like this is really lazy. It's just a mini version of Mega Clefairy. I don't think Mawile will ever see play, but you know, it's an option, I guess. It's an option. Esper, Meowstic. What does Meowstic do? Not very good, I don't think. Yeah, Meowstic's not good. Spritzy, Aromatisse. Once your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 Psychic Energy cards, reveal and put them into your hand. I really hope they're not gearing us up towards like a stage 2 that can just accelerate loads of Psychic Energy in play. I really hope they're not gearing up towards that, because that would be kind of lame. I think Psychic needs less support right now. You know, I think everyone's a bit kind of tired of Gardevoir. You know, it's been on top for a long time. It'd be nice for other types to share the love, even though I do like Aromatisse, and this is a very cute card. But yeah, I think Psychic needs a bit of a break. Probopass, you're trash. Hippopotamus, you're trash. Hippodown, that evolves from Hippopotamus. Tornado Drill, 2 fighting, a colorless, 80 damage. If you play Tarragon from your hand during this turn, discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Trash, Tarragon does not accelerate energy, so like you could use Barbarical, I guess. Okay, maybe. So maybe there's something here. Like we could do a terrible bad deck Friday kind of Barbarical Hippo down deck, but I don't think it'd be very good, sadly. And it has to be during this turn as well, not just in the discard pile. It feels so bad. Yeah, it's not good. Landorus, Bulk. Keep printing Bulk Landorus. The new Binnacles, alright. Got a draw 2 on double draw. Barbaricle's kind of fun. Has the ability Stone Arms. Once your turn, you may attach a basic fighting energy from your hand to one of your fighting Pokemon. So, quite nice. A bit of energy acceleration for the likes of Tyrantrum over here, and of course, Mega Zygarde. So, it's always nice to see some fighting type support, which is cool. And we've got a new Tyrantrum, again, one of the first since Sun and Moon era, which is cool. Has the ability Tyrannoguts. If it has any special energy attached to it, it gets 150 HP, which is a bit silly. And then Wreak Havoc for a fighting colorless does 160, but you flip a coin to get tails, and for each heads, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Now, sadly, in theory, this sounds great, but I don't think it will necessarily see very much play unless we get some really good fossil support, because getting these items out is just so annoying. Like, even with Arven being such a good card as it is right now, fossils virtually see no play whatsoever anyhow. So, like, yeah, I just don't see there being much, much hope for these guys and Aurorus necessarily unless we do get some good fossil support. You know, I've seen a lot of people say this card is great, and like, fair enough, this is a good single prize attacker. But like that doesn't really mean anything if we can't actually get it into play in the first place, you know? So, you know, I don't want to be a downer about these things, but at the same time, I'm trying to be a little bit realistic, and you know, I just don't want to say, oh, everything's broken, guys, because it's not, right? You know, fossils, they desperately need more support in this game. So yeah, Tyrantrum's cool, but we need more support. We've got Hawlucha. Our Revenge Kick does 30, and if your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, it does 60 more, so 90 for an energy. That's not terrible. I guess in like a weird kind of shenanigans format where you can damage your own Pokemon, like get a Rainbow Energy reprint in here maybe. 90 damage is, yeah, because I guess you have Premium Power Pro. It could be okay, single prize attacker in Lucario, but Lunatone's already doing like 70 anyway, so yeah, that's alright. I think it's okay. Mega Zygarde, Gaia Wave, 200. Next star takes 30 less from attacks, pretty good. Then nullifying 0 for each of your opponent's Pokemon. Flip a coin, if heads, this attack does 150 damage to that Pokemon. And it's for 5 fighting energy. So yeah, I don't have the highest hopes for Mega Zygarde. I think it will be a lot of fun, and like I'm sure everyone will want to try this out and then quickly realize it's terrible. But I think with Babaracle, it will be a lot of fun at the very least. Like 5 energy is not that extreme, I don't think. Not with like 2 Babaracle and playing some magnet attachments. You can get there. It's more so the fact that it's a Mega, because 310 HP is the most we've ever seen on a basic. But, you know, this thing gets 2 shot anyway, most of the time, and then your opponent just takes 3 prize cards. So, you know, they're only attacking 4 times and they win the game. So, yeah, I'm not a big believer in this, but I do think the attack is hilarious and this will win you games. It'll also lose you games because you just won't flip heads when you need to, but, you know, it'll be funny. I'm looking forward to trying this out at least. And we have a new Gengar line. Sadly, Ghastly and Haunter are contributing nothing. We have a new Gengar at least, which is always cool. Has the ability Infinite Shadow, which is nice. If this Pokemon would be knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, instead of discarding it, return it to your hand and discard all other cards attached to it. To this Pokemon that are not Pokemon. So I'm assuming the clarification is here to mean that you get the evolution line back, but you don't get the like the tools or whatever, or the energy. But yeah, like quite a nice ability to have. You could play this in like a Mega Gengar deck and not lose the middle evolutions and the Ghastlies, which is nice. And then Mind Jack, sadly, just isn't really it. 10 damage, 30 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Like, it's whatever. Like, it's okay in GLC, it's okay in Standard. Like, it's not really doing enough damage, though. Like, White Flare Zoroark does this, and it's like that card sees no play whatsoever, and that's a stage 1. So like, why would this see play just because it has a nice ability and like the same HP as Zoroark actually? So yeah, it seems like a bit of a redundant card in some ways. Like it's a nice single price attacker in Gengar, I guess, in like the Mega Gengar deck, but aside from that, you know, aside from Josie, I don't think this will see much play as its own thing. We have a new Scorpri and a Drapion. Is Drapion any good? Has a tail 100 for 3 dark. Does 70 to itself, so half its HP. And your opponent's active is now poisoned and paralyzed. So we do have Toxtricity actually to accelerate energy, which is cool. Yeah, like maybe this could be annoying with Sharpedo. You have a new Veltor, which is actually really interesting. For 2 dark and a colorless, Death Soul says knock out each of your opponent's Pokemon that has 50 HP or less remaining. Quite a spicy, scary attack with Munkidori and Frostlass around, and this is dark energy, so Crispin is always an option. It is kind of expensive, like 2 dark and a colorless is a lot, don't get me wrong. But if we get some like good energy acceleration with Toxtricity and stuff, get some energy switch in there, this could be nice. You know, you could definitely hoover up some Pokemon with this, you know, finish something off. Yeah, could be quite nice. 210 HP could be worse, could be better, but yeah, I do think this is a very scary attack. The second attack is nothing like cool or anything, but the first attack I do think is pretty good, so that's nice to see. Then we see a dark-typed Chien-Pao, which is nice. Rising Blade does 160 to an EX. 160 is just pathetic in this day and age. It's not good enough. Yeah, not good. Mega Skarmory. Not the worst Mega, I don't think, actually. For 2 Metal Colorless, shuffle RNG from his Pokemon back into your deck, and you do 220 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Quite nice. Means you can snipe a Meowth EX for 2 prizes. You probably want to pair this up with Steven's Metagross and Matang, I guess, or just Matang, for some energy acceleration. We've got a new Honedge, cool. Got a new Doublade, which is actually just straight up better than Aegislash. Sword Stash does 60 damage for each Honedge, Doublade, and Aegislash that you reveal from your hand. So quite a nice effect. You could Dawn, get all three of them into hand. You could use a new Pokepad item to get a Pokemon out of the deck. Should be quite fun as a deck. Sadly, we don't have a lot of ways of paying for this post-rotation. Like, we have Ignition Energy, and that's like it. So I do kind of worry about these single price decks with the weird attack costs. But yeah, it could be quite a fun little budget deck. We've got a new Klefki. They can't... Yeah, like, you just choose an attack and they can't use it. Interesting that it does 30 damage, actually. Like, usually these attacks don't tend to do that much on a basic, but that's quite nice. So Klefki could be a fun option. We have a new Rattata, which has 40 HP, which is somewhat relevant, actually, because there is a Diggersby that does 30 damage to each of your bench Pokemon, which is kind of fun because this Raticate does 40 damage for each damage counter on all your bench Rattata. So it is a bit of a key difference from the Taurus, right? Because at first it seems like worse Taurus, right? Like, Taurus is hitting type advantage. Taurus is also a basic. Like, why would this not just be worse Taurus? But Taurus is just for each Taurus in play that has a damage counter. This is just for each damage counter. So if you're actually able to get the Diggersby 30 off on 3 Rattata and then attack with Eradicate, you're actually doing pretty solid damage. Now, of course, like, it's difficult to chain this because, as soon as your Eradicate starts to get knocked out, then you have to attack with another one. And then, of course, you have to reset the damage and, everything gets a bit awkward. But, like, we do have Risky Ruins at the very least. So maybe with Diggersby and Risky Ruins, Mr. Raticate could be a fun little butcher deck. There's a lot of, like, nice little casual decks coming out in this set. I don't think there is, like, much in the way of super competitive stuff, but I like Raticate. I think this could be fun. So, I'm for giving this a go. The new Meowth EX, very, very good card. Shouldn't need to tell you this, but has the ability Last Ditch Catch. Once in your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you can search your deck for a support card. Very, very, very good effect. Will see an awful lot of play. Just a very, very good utility Pokemon. Of course, we are losing Nest Ball post rotation, but you wouldn't be able to Nest Ball this anyway and trigger the ability. So we have to use Ultra Ball for this. But yeah, Ultra Ball Meowth boss game is going to finish a lot of matches off in the coming 2 years. So that's going to be fun. We also have a new Snorlax, which is trash. Straight to cube with you. We have a new Diggersby, which we kind of mentioned earlier, like the 114 and 30 to each of your bench Pokemon. Oh, Dodrio would have loved you. But yeah, Dodrio is sadly irritating. But yeah, this with Raticate could be quite fun, I think. So that's nice to see. We have a new Furfu. No, just something for cube again. New Fletchling is fine. At first I thought this was search your deck for 2 Fletchlings and put them onto your bench, but it's just search your deck for 2 Pokemon with fighting resistance. So a 60 HP Fletchling for GLC, that's nice, but yeah, nothing too crazy. And then we finally make it to the trainers. It's been a long video, this one. But yeah, Energy Swatter, your opponent reveals their hand, choose an energy card you find there and put it onto the bottom of your opponent's deck. Quite annoying, pretty good energy disruption. It does rely on you knowing that they have something in hand, but sometimes you will, of course, be able to disrupt them quite nicely with this. Antique Jaw Fossil, you take 30 less damage from attacks, so you're taking no damage from Budew at least, which is nice. Antique Sail Fossil can't actually be affected by supporters, so your opponent can't just boss one of these, which is cool. Pokepad, probably hands down the best trainer card in the set, though. Search your deck for Pokemon that doesn't have a Roblox revealer and put it into your hand. Very, very, very good item. Like, do not underestimate how good this card will be. I think this will be a 4 of in a lot of the decks that really do rely on single prize attackers. And of course, single prize support Pokemon. So that's nice to see. Like, we lose Nest Ball anyway, right? So, like, we need a replacement. And this is good. This is a good replacement. So yeah, very good card. Luminous Gelate, a bit of a weird one because I'm pretty sure this is just big Malasada, so I don't know why they didn't just reprint that, but their choice, I guess. Luminous Gelate it is. Not a very good card though. Core Memory, yeah, Mega Zygarde can use this attack. Sadly, we lose Arven to rotation, so there's not, have like a good way of finding this, but for 4 fighting energy, Geobuster does 350, which is just bonkers, but you do have to discard all energy, but I mean, do you really care at that point? Like 350 is disgusting. Like this is a pretty good card though, because if you're able to take, say, well, even 3 prize cards actually in some cases, but 3 or 4 prize cards against, your opponent's deck with your Munkis 0 attack, right? The one that costs 5 energy. Then you just put one of these on Zygarde, you boss a 2 prize Pokemon, bonk, you've won the game. So, like, yeah, seems like a very good card. Would like to run at least 2 of these, please, in the Mega Zygarde deck. So, yeah, it's another fun win condition that deck will have, which is cool. So, I think this is a very good card. We have Tarragon, put up to 4 deadly combination of fighting Pokemon, basic energy cards, we discard pile into your hand. So if you ever want to play like Lonazade in fighting type deck, well, now you have like an upgrade, which is cool. And Naveen, you are not going to replace Iono Burst Rotation. I'm sorry, bro. Rose's Encouragement, which is the supporter we talked about right at the start of the video. It feels like such a long time ago now. Please put me out of my misery. But yeah, this is a good supporter. I have just kind of twigged on that this card will be very good for Dragapult, which is not what I'm sure people want to hear. But yeah, Dragapult, of course, is being a slower deck and can also trigger Dusknoir. So yeah, so you now have access to Energy Acceleration for Dragapult, because Dragapult was going to lose Charizard post rotation, but now it has this instead. Yay! So yeah, I'm not sure I'm feeling too happy about that, but yeah, don't think Dragapult needs any more buffs. But it's cool, I guess. Stage 2s are now having like another way to accelerate energy. Like we could also power up Mega Dragonite with this, guys, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, we'll have to see what other Stage 2 Megas they print and other Stage 2 X's. Of course, Mega Greninja is also going to be an option, so yeah, we'll see. This also does have synergy with Mega Greninja, actually, so that's cool. And we have a new Jacinthe? Jacinth? Someone will have to tell me how to pronounce this name. Heal 150 from one of your Psychic Pokemon. Yay! So we have like a new stall supporter, I guess. Wherever we get a Psychic type Mega Wailord. Luminous City, I think this card is trash, but you can search your deck for base Pokemon, put them to your bench, and then you turn ends. So it's literally only good on like the first turn of the game going first. And it's a stadium, so it's really hard to find. Good card, maybe. Seems like more of a low-powered cube kind of stadium, or like for GLC in low powers, maybe. Very good card for GLC, this actually. But yeah, like I don't know about this. It seems, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem very good. We have a bunch of new special energy, by the way. Just moving on. We have Grow Grass energy. While attached to a grass Pokemon, it gets plus 20 HP. Pretty good. Nice little Mega Heracross and Mega Venusaur buff, I think. Telepath Psych energy. This is the one that people have been raving about already online. When you attach this card to one of your Pokemon, your Psychic Pokemon, I should say, you may search your deck for 2 basic Psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. I think this is a very good card, but I don't think it's super broken just because you actually have to find it, right? It's a special energy. Yeah, you'll probably run 4 of this in the deck if you really want to use its effect. But like, you still have to find them. They're not always the easiest things to find these. So you're playing like a lot of Lily at that point, a lot of research, just digging for these. And at that point, it might just be easier to use Poffin. Like I guess for bigger Psychic Pokemon that you can't use Poffin for, or you don't want a Pokepad for them, like yeah, this is still a very, very, very good card. But I don't think it's quite as broken as some people make it out to be. It's very good for GLC, of course. But yeah, all of these I think are good for GLC. But I don't know if this is like as broken as people make it out to be. I don't know. Maybe we'll see like more special energy synergy in the upcoming sets. Like, because Japan will get another set, by the way, Ninja Spinner, just when all this stuff comes out in English. So we'll see a bunch of new cards soon revealed as well, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know about this one. Then Rock Fighting Energy. Attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to fighting Pokemon. So you prevent all effects. Okay, that's cool. So like confusion and energy discarding, which is cool. There's also some art rares revealed, but I don't think they're that impressive. But yeah. Anyway, either way, wrapping up because it's been a very long set review. Let me know what you think about these new cards down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.